conceptual.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having an unbelievable start to your week. That's always my hope for you, is that you get things off to a great start. If you haven't, hope you got today off to a great start, because it will have an impact on how the rest of your day goes. Look, I don't plan on being here long today, but I do want to speak to you and encourage you. This message is for those of you who have been out there striving to do something different in your life for a more than what you consider to be reasonable time. You've been out there striving and you don't seem to see any results. You've been out there doing everything you thought you needed to do, but for whatever reason, you don't see the results. You've tried and you've persevered and you've pushed, and yet all you see is delay. Let me explain something to you. And I've said this multiple times. It's one of my core messages, because so many people balk at the idea of the thought of the experience of delay. Delay does not mean denial. Matter of fact, you cannot be denied. When you're walking your path, when you've set your course and you've made up in your mind that you're going to do something exceptional, the only one that can stop you is you. The very deepest root meaning of destiny is that something is destined to happen. And the root meaning of it is that no matter how hard someone or something attempts to stop it, it only ensures that it happens. That's what destiny means, that everything in front of you is actually pushing you towards your destiny, even when you think it's working against you, even when you think it's slowing you down, even when you think it's holding you back. That your destiny, by definition, says that everything in front of you only propels you towards your destiny. Now, you may be feeling frustrated. You may be feeling like everything is against you. You may be feeling like something is not happening the way you want it to happen. But let me explain something to you, that the very notion that you've made up in your mind to do something is the first step, but you got to follow through. So many people get close and they quit because they've made up in their mind, well, I've tried so hard for so long, it must not be for me. And then they start using old-fashioned excuses. Well, it must not be in God's will. It must not be for me. But if it's for good, and it's going to be good for you, and it's going to be good for other people, meaning that what you are attempting to achieve is of good intent, and you are going to do good with it, then it can't be withheld for you. It cannot be stopped. It's a part of your destiny. You have set out to it, but you got to understand that delay does not mean denial. Do you know how many times I've got to a place and I had in my mind this idea of how long it would take me to get there? So I'm there, and it's been 90 days. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. It's been longer than a year. Sometimes it's been 3-4 years, and I'm sitting up and I'm going, what in the world is going on? But see, there's something inside of me that's been planted there for so long. I can't even tell you where it started, but there's something inside of me that just will not quit. There's something inside of me that will not relent from the things that I set out to do. I don't have this moment that I get to that I go, well, I gave it my best. Okay, I'm going to go. There's no point I get to where I sit up and say, well, at least I tried. There's absolutely no point I'm going to get to where I'm going to sit up and say, well, it's on to the next one. No, if I set out to do it, I'm going to do it. Two things are going to happen. You've heard me say this, I don't know how many times. When I set out to do it, one or two things are going to happen. I'm going to either get it or I'm going to die trying. Those are my only alternatives. When you set up in your mind that I'm either going to get this thing or I'm going to die in the process of fighting for it, you will be surprised at the things you're able to do. But let me explain something about delay. Delay is a process. Remember, we're talking about what you plant. So you can't reap a harvest of something you didn't plant. You can only reap what you planted. Now, you can reap good things or you can reap bad things. You're going to reap what you plant. But here's the thing. When you plant something And it's something of power, something of force, something of a great magnitude. You got to understand that there's the law of germination and gestation in the idea and the concept of planting. What do I mean? See, it doesn't take the rose bush as long to bring forth a fruit of the seed as it does an acorn. But see, the rose bush comes forth, it blossoms, it blooms, and then it's down until the next blossom. When you plant acorn, it takes a lot longer, but when the oak tree finally comes forth, you've got it for hundreds of years. It's providing shade, it's providing stability, it's providing beauty, it's doing some things that many other things that are planted can't. So what happens though, when it's a longer gestation period, it takes longer to germinate. There are some things you're striving for that's so great that you're not going to get immediate gratification from your work. You got to understand that it's going to take time, but you got to put in the work. Now, I have one thing that I want you to do, though. I want you to stop hustling backwards. What do I mean by that? There are a bunch of out there that spend way more time partying than you do grinding. You spend way more time partying and hanging out and hooking up and all of that stuff. And society tells you that's what you're supposed to get out. You go enjoy yourself. And I'm not against anybody enjoying yourself. I'm not against anybody partying. But let me tell you something. You got to understand the meaning of things before you participate. And people are doing things simply because the culture accepts it, or the culture promotes it, or the culture presents it, but don't understand the meaning behind it. See, a party is a form of a celebration. Well, in order to have a celebration, there has to be something to celebrate. What are you celebrating when you party? What did you get done worthy of the celebration? Or are you just partying to party? See, the time you spent partying, you should be planning. The time you spend partying, you should be working, hustling, grinding, planning, putting things in motion, being prepared, moving towards something. I have no problem whatsoever with party, but the party should be this thing that happens after you've broken through the wall of delay, after you've broken through the wall of frustration and disappointment, after you've done the things that bring you to a place where you sit up and say, I've been working to get here. I finally made it. I'm going out to celebrate. You celebrate for a moment, you have fun, but you get back to the grind. You make the party a reward for following through. Stop hustling backwards. Second thing I want you to do, make a move. Some of you have been sitting still for so long, you don't realize where the stagnancy is coming from. You've become so still and for so long that where you're at has become comfortable, and you've gotten locked into something, and you know there's something greater out there, but you know you have something inside of you that can do some exceptional and extraordinary things, but you've got to take action. You've got to make a move. You can't be sitting still. 2022 is the representation of new possibilities, new opportunities, a chance to take your life to the next level. But don't waste it repeating the same behavior that kept you where you were in 2021. Now, a bunch of you, I begged you back in September, start building momentum for 2022. Some of you listened, some of you didn't. But what do you got to do now? You got to make an adjustment. You got to sit up and say, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to stay still. I'm not going to allow this thing to turn me around. Delay does not mean denial. What it is, it's a test. It's a test of your commitment. It is a moment of the process in which what you have planted and are cultivating is literally taking root. See, the bigger it is, the deeper the root has to be, and that root has to dig itself in. We live in a culture that seeks out immediate gratification. So what happens when you seek out immediate gratification? When you don't receive it, you become frustrated, you become disappointed, you become frenetic and unglued. You start to determine, well, maybe this isn't for me. You start making excuses for not being where you think you should be. And what happens is you lose sight of the focus of where you should be going, and you stop taking action and you start looking at something else. I'm telling you right now is the time that you plant your foot firmly and you start to take one step at a time, one move at a time until you get to where you're going. You have to make a move. The question isn't whether you can get there. The question is, will you quit? Will you give up? Will you relent? I've said this before. One of the most gratifying things to me is to know that I've reached people. I'm not a person that needs my ego stroke. I have an ongoing joke. I tell people, I stroke my ego on my own. I don't need anybody else to stroke it. So I'm never feeling down when nobody acknowledges me. I'm never feeling down when somebody tells me I'm not what I believe I am, because I know who I am. I know by the work I do and the things that I have accomplished. See, I can look at what I set out to do 10 years ago, and I can see the work that I put in, and I can see the results of it. And nobody can't take that away from me. Nobody can't sit up and tell me what I am and what I am not. I don't need anyone to gratify me. But what I do like is when I sit up there and I walk out on stage in a place that I've spoken at before. And there are people that have heard me speak before, whether it's there or someone else. And I'm being introduced and I'm walking out on the stage to deliver a lecture, a speech, or whatever it is. And I hear people in the audience going, no surrender, no retreat, no surrender, no retreat, because it's a part of my message. It's a part of my lifestyle. It's a part of how I think, how I move. No surrender. I don't quit. I don't give up. I've been beat. I've been hit. I've been knocked down. I've been set back. I done lost everything I had and had to rebuild. I know what it takes to stand firm, and I don't quit. No surrender, no retreat. And then when you hear somebody, you know you left something in somebody's heart that inspired them. It inspired them enough that when they heard you were coming back, they came, because they felt like maybe there's something else he's going to give me to fight with that I didn't have before he came. And that's the thing that moves me, is I know that I'm touching lives. I know that I'm changing lives. I know that I'm putting something in people's heart that wasn't there before. That's why I'm here, to change lives, to change the world. I'm not here to sit up and make everybody like me. I'm not here to sit up and get everybody to approve of me. Popularity means nothing if it doesn't come with impact. What are you doing to change your life? What are you doing? I'm telling you, it's time to get out there. It's time to move. No surrender, no retreat. You can't quit. Delay does not mean denial. Look, for some of you out there, you're really ready to make a move. I mean, you're really serious, ready to make a move. You're tired of being stuck. You're tired of being in a place where you know there's more out there. And you're looking and you're thinking, what am I going to do this year? Look, I have a program called Savage in 6. I've introduced it before. It's not new. I created it towards the end of last year. It's 6 weeks of intense engagement, one-on-one with yours truly. We unpack it all. We look at where you're at. We look at where you want to go. We set a plan, but we also look at what's going on here, because what's going on here impacts what's here, and what's here impacts how you move and what you do and how you interpret, and how you interpret is going to tell you how and what you feel you can and cannot do. I want you to come and work with me for 6 weeks. If you're serious, and only the serious need apply, that's in there. Now, for everybody else, if you haven't joined the Epic Realm community, where we are building a community of high achievers, we're bringing the support, the connectivity to build a circle that will help you win. You want a winning circle, you need to be a part of that. That link is in there already. So if you really, really, really want to do something special, come work with me, Savage in 6. If you're ready to sit up and connect with people who are winning, because it's so important to connect with people who will fan your flames, but hold you accountable. It's important to sit up there and be around people who have done what you've done. It's important to be around people who will sit up and see the genius in you that other people who have been around you forever can't see, because all they see is the person that did this, the person that was in the 3rd grade and did that, the person that was this point, the person who's never started a business, the person who's never had their finances in order, the person who's never been good in relationships. All the things that you want to do well in 2022, you may not have done well in the past, and the people you've been around the longest can't see anything but what you've always been, and they keep reminding you of it. You need a new circle. You need people who are going to sit up and see the genius in you, see what is exceptional in you. And I'm telling you, if you're breathing, there's a level of genius inside of you. The question is, are you going to tap into it? Are you going to do something with it? Are you going to stop making excuses? Are you going to start being around people who are going to push you and challenge you and encourage you? That's what Epic Realm is about. So again, if you want to be a part of a winning community, now's the time. Become a member. The link is in there. Also, for those of you that are really seriously committed to doing something different and you want to work with me, that link is there too. Savage in 6. It is the shortest intense program I have where you're working with me one-on-one. Obviously, I have the rapid change breakthrough session, which is a 1-day encounter. But as far as a program where we're working together consistently, that Savage in 6 is created just for the people who aren't able to do the 12-week, 26 weeks, 52-week programs. Make it happen. It's up to you. Life will pay whatever price you demand of it. The question is, will you meet the counter demands that life makes on you? On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable